The Offinso North District is looking to expand on possibilities of what they already have in their district and what they are planning to do in their district in the future. So we created this planning process. It's an essential process that we believe is going to improve the effectiveness of the planning process in Ghana, especially in the Offinso North District. We believe that by establishing some sort of basic processes that would be considered a normal process for everyone to go through, we can improve the effectiveness of it, and you can focus more so on the benefits of proper planning and how that will really benefit economic and settlement development. Just currently addressing the issues that are facing much of Africa today, you can address population growth very proactively. You can grow responsibly and sustainably, and then you can also encourage beneficial growth as well. So as a little bit of a background, throughout the class, at the beginning of the class we did individual case studies. Each of the fine students behind you did case studies on the adjacent countries in West Africa, find out about their planning processes and what we would deem to be effective or ineffective, or what is proven to be very substantial and effective in the areas. From then, as Jamie mentioned before, we moved our focus to the Offinso North District, and we have been working with well, several of you and some of the officials in the Offinso North District to gather information about the Offinso North District and to provide a more complete outlook on what's happening in Offinso North and how we can help. Then we focused on organizing the report and modeling it after the process that we came up with that Ariel is going to talk about in a few minutes. And I'm going to let him get into that. And on the next slide, we actually have a collage of some images from the Offinso North District that we received from Kojo, right down there, to give us a little bit of perspective on what the district is like. And as you take a view over those, I'm going to turn it over to Ariel here. He's going to tell you about our planning process.
Thanks, David. My name's Ariel, and I'm going to give a quick overview of the planning process that David mentioned that was really the core of our work this quarter. We came up with a 5-step framework. So the 5 steps are: first, defining purpose for creating the plan; second, acquiring technical information; third, acquiring input from the community; fourth, integrating the trends with values; and fifth, identifying action steps to take. And after the planning process is complete, there are 2 additional steps: implementing the plan and evaluating what has been done. I'm going to give a few details on the individual steps of the process. First of all, the first step is to define the purpose of the plan. This is where we ask ourselves, why should we plan? Some plans are created merely to fulfill a legal requirement, but if that's the only motivation, then effective planning can't really take place. So what unmet needs will the plan address? What will the plan actually yield? Answering these questions and identifying a clear purpose for planning in the first place will help to justify the use of time and resources in making a plan. It also provides the initial motivation and direction that are necessary for effective planning. Once the purpose is clearly identified, the research can begin. Now, my colleagues are going to talk a little more in detail about the acquiring technical information and acquiring community input. But briefly, the important thing to remember is that these are 2 different types of research. This type is based more on gathering quantitative data and identifying trends in the district that we're studying. And community input is more about learning about the people's values, learning what the people want for their communities. And then in the next step, these trends and people's values are reconciled, brought together. The next step is the integration step. The point of this step is that there may be disconnects between what the trends are showing and what the people want. The idea is to bridge these gaps. Just to give an example, the trends may indicate that the district's population is likely to remain widely dispersed in the future, but community input may show that everyone wants vastly improved infrastructure. It's difficult to provide infrastructure to a dispersed population, so how do we bridge this gap? How do we connect that disconnect? That's the integration step of the process, the integration of trends and values. The desired outcome of the integration is a solid conceptual direction for the plan. Once we have this direction precedent, we can identify actions that can be taken. And that's the fifth step in this process. An action would be most likely a policy, a project, or a program. A good action plan has two very important elements to it. It lists what actions will be taken, and it explains how those actions will be taken, how the plan will be implemented. So for each action, who's going to do it, when will it be done, how will it be funded, who will monitor and evaluate it afterwards, see if it's been successful. Those are the kind of questions to ask about the actions. That's the final step of the planning process, and after this step comes the absolutely vital next step, implementation. This is where we're no longer planning, but actually doing. And implementation is the whole point of planning. We don't plan just to plan. We plan so that things will actually happen and change. This is where new projects actually get built, policies get put in place, new programs are set in motion. And after the implementation has taken place, the last final step, where we evaluate what's been done. This is where we look back and say, did it work? What could we do better? The evaluation step is where the plan is institutionalized, meaning that some specific entity needs to take ownership of the plan and take responsibility for following up on the plan. And we consider this necessary because without someone, some organization taking responsibility for the plan, actions may not be accomplished properly, and the next plan may not be right for the district. So this is where we look back and ask, how well did the plan fit the district? Did it work for the people? What's been accomplished? Now, my colleagues are going to look back at these steps and give us a little more information.
I'm Drew. I'm going to be going over some of the technical and data input of the planning process. This is a map that they were able to provide. It sort of shows some of our challenges in getting good detailed data. This was really the most detailed map they were able to get us. It has, really has names of cities, district, or I'm sorry, the outline of the district, but not much land use detail or anything like that. So then we get into our challenges. Really, I think we all discovered in our case studies that data was difficult to find at the district level in most developing countries. There are lots of reports written on Ghana as a whole and how their population is changing, in even some in the Ashanti region, but it was just difficult to find good data on the Offinso North District by itself. Ghana does have a decent statistical service. They have the Ghana Statistical Service who do have some reports on their website, but when we tried to get data from them, they had us request it, we had to send in a form, we haven't heard back from them. So to get district level data and to find out their data from the 2000 census was hard to get to. And we think that's sort of a challenge that the planners in the Offinso district are going to have to look at. Third-party data, we found some third-party data from different organizations. Usually they either wanted you to pay for what they had, or we weren't sure if it was reliable or unbiased or what sort of funding they were looking for, so we couldn't really trust a lot of third-party data. And then just the current census cycle and the timing. The last census was taken in 2000. They're planning on another one later this year if they have the funds. And, sorry. And also the fact that the district was just established in 2008, so there's not a lot of historical data about it. Okay. Some of our responses to those challenges, not just for us as researchers, but for people over there as planners. Sometimes you have to make assumptions to fill in the data gaps, have input from local leaders to find out where the district is growing and things like that. You have to use use growth models